was born and raised in New York City, but not in the way most people imagine. I grew up in a neighborhood called Flushing, now considered the city's largest Chinatown. With its large East Asian immigrant community, I was never deprived of my Chinese culture. My childhood memories are filled with walking down bustling Main Street, struggling to wake up early to eat dim sum with my parents, and dreading weekends filled with prep school, violin lessons, and Chinese classes. I grew up in a small apartment with just my mom and dad. My parents are immigrants from China, so Chinese was my first language. At home, I spoke only Chinese since my parents struggled with English and I didn't have siblings to practice English with. Even the local news we watched every night was broadcast in Chinese. Naturally, I had to learn English once I started school. As I spent more years in school and spoke English daily, it gradually became stronger than my Chinese. Many immigrant families feel pressure to assimilate into American culture to fit in. But because of the community I grew up in, I never felt drastically different, and so we never felt pressure. Still, as I got older, I began noticing moments when I felt different from my peers. For example, my favorite childhood shows were 哆啦 A 梦 and 喜羊羊与灰太狼. I struggled to join conversations about Western pop culture. I wasn't familiar with classic American movies or popular artists, and that made me feel embarrassed and uncultured. To fit in, I started listening to Taylor Swift and Britney Spears. When my dad bought cable and I was finally able to watch Disney Channel, I felt oddly proud, being able to say my favorite shows were Liv and Maddie and Jessie. I have only been to China 3 times, when I was 8, 14, and most recently 20. Each time, I returned to Fuzhou, moving between the village my mom grew up in and the city. The first time I went back, I met my cousin who was the same age as me. We immediately clicked and became best friends. She was like the sister I've always dreamed of having. My most recent trip was in January 2025. I hadn't been back in almost 7 years. The decision was sudden, and I returned because my grandma passed away. It felt strange seeing all the familiar faces of my family members, only older. The reunion was bittersweet. I was grateful to be surrounded by family again, yet I was confronted with how much I had missed. And the city I remembered from childhood had also changed, becoming more modernized and unrecognizable in certain ways. Being with my family in China will always feel like home, but sometimes I wonder why home is so far away. As an only child and the only one in my family born in America, I often feel lonely and stuck between identities. I often feel too Chinese to be American and too American to be Chinese. As I've grown older, I felt myself drifting from my Chinese culture, especially now that I'm in college and away from home. Chinese is the only language I can use to speak to my parents and my family, and sometimes I worry that distance will slowly take that away from me. I've realized that much of my struggle with my identity comes from worrying about how others see me, with some assuming I can't speak Chinese and others questioning whether I'm even American. But I'm learning to find balance between my American and Chinese identities. I may not fit a stereotypical image of being American, but it's where I was born and raised. And although I'm not from China, it's the culture I grew up with and the one that feels most familiar to me. I continue to make efforts to stay connected to my roots, whether it's through friends, the media I consume, or just keeping in contact with my family. I know China is a place I can always go back to, where my family will welcome me no matter how much time has passed or how far the distance. I hope to visit my family again soon and explore more of China beyond Fuzhou. And I'm grateful to have grown up in Flushing because it has always been my home and a place that feels like a piece of China and keeps me close to my culture.